People all across the country are still getting locked into timeshares, contracts that drain their bank accounts year after year. And if you're not careful in 2026, it could happen to you too. Let me show you what I mean.
So I thought we were smart enough not to get suckered into a timeshare. So we went to go claim our little free vacation. We knew we were going to go to a timeshare. I've never been to one before, so I didn't really know what to expect. But they were so pushy. Like, we kept saying, no, 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 no. And then he brought his manager, and then we still said, no, 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 no. And then he brought his manager, and we were like, no, 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 no. But then at the end of the day, we ended up signing. I don't know how it happened, but we did. And they were like, where are you going to go on your first vacation? And we said, Hawaii. And then they got up and they were like, hello everyone, Mr. and Mrs. Cortez are gonna go to Hawaii. And everybody started clapping for us, and it felt so good. And then when we got home, we actually looked at the paper and we were like, bro, like all these days like are not gonna be available.
So if you want the free gift from a timeshare presentation, just know you're not getting that without pressure. The reality of it is these presentations are designed to wear you down. And so when they announced that this couple was going to Hawaii, that wasn't random. That wasn't a genuine congrats. That was social pressure. It makes everyone else in the room feel like they're missing out if they're not going to Hawaii too. So one rule of thumb here, never sign a contract like this on the spot. Thankfully, she was able to cancel during what's called the rescission period, which is basically a short window of time where you can legally back out. And something that's always confused me about timeshares is that you can pay all that money and still only go on certain dates, but you own it. That's not real flexibility to me. So do you think a timeshare is ever worth it? Let me know what you think. Now, some people will tell you that timeshares actually make financial sense, but let's really think about that.
Timeshares are one of the worst financial decisions you could ever make. They're not an investment. They're a money trap designed to drain your wallet while giving you absolutely nothing in return. First off, you don't own anything. You don't own. A timeshare is just prepaying for vacations you may not even want to take at a property you don't control on dates you can't always choose. That's not ownership. It's a lifetime subscription to frustration. And let's talk about the cost. You're paying thousands up front, usually $20,000 or more, plus annual maintenance fees that go up every single year, whether you use the timeshare or not. Oh, and trying to sell one? You can forget it because there's no resale market because no one wants your overpriced, restrictive vacation crap. People are actually practically giving them away for $1 online, and even then no one's biting. And here's the kicker. If you took that same money and put it into investments, let's say a Roth IRA, index funds, mutual funds, you'd actually build wealth over time. And you'd have the freedom to vacation when and where you want, instead of being tied to one overpriced spot. Bottom line is, timeshares are an absolute scam. They're a financial black hole, a terrible investment, and a lifelong freaking headache. Don't waste your money. Keep building, keep growing. Till next time.
$20,000 could fund vacations for years. It could go towards a down payment on a house. It could be invested. But here's the bigger issue here, the resale value. One reason that timeshares are so hard to resell is because when you bought it, there was a high pressure salesperson convincing you that it was a great deal. Now flip that to when you try to sell it, there's no one doing that for you. No one applying that pressure. That should tell you something about them. Just think about it. How many people do you know who say casually in conversation, I wish I had a timeshare? My guess is probably not many people. So let's talk numbers. If you invested $20,000 into something like an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, which is basically a fund that mirrors the performance of 500 large US companies, and it grew at an average of 8% per year, in 5 years, you'd be close to $30,000. That's the power of compounding. So have you ever bought a timeshare? If so, what was your experience? There's no judgment. I'm genuinely curious to know what your experience has been like. So it's clear that people are being taken advantage of with timeshares. What's crazy is people are also being taken advantage of with their personal information being sold online. Now this happens because data brokers can legally sell your personal info, and people search sites are the most dangerous because they'll sell your name, address, phone number, and family details to anyone with a credit card. I've been using DeleteMe, the sponsor of this video, for the past 5 months to protect my privacy online. I've always wanted to remove my information from these websites, but I never knew how to do it. I'm happy to share that so far, they've removed my information from 182 data broker and people search sites. They've also saved me 37 hours of research and 26 hours of submitting removal requests. DeleteMe is a hands-free subscription service that removes your personal information from hundreds of data broker and people search sites, so that your information isn't just floating around online and you can reduce the chances of a random person pulling up to your address. DeleteMe has been the leading expert in personally identifiable information removal for over 15 years and was recently named by Wirecutter as the #1 data removal service. DeleteMe privacy advisors are also real people who are available for customer requests and help when you need it. So you can get 20% off DeleteMe consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Sam. And the discount is automatically applied at checkout. Or you can use the QR code on screen. That's joindeleteme.com/Sam. This next clip shows why getting out once doesn't mean you're safe for good.
So it is what it is. We ended up buying a timeshare in Wyndham. I will tell you, we've had the timeshare for a year. We pay about roughly $900 a month. We were able to use it once, and that was not too long ago. We had to use it in a hotel because the resorts in Orlando were full. I will tell you, it was a horrible experience. The hotel was, I would give it 3 stars. Was not good at all. We took the whole family, well, partially of the family we took, and not a good experience. It was bad. They wanted to sell us some more points, and I got super frustrated at checking in. My husband was like, we're not here for you to sell us more points. So whatever. Bottom line is, we're stuck with this timeshare.
All right, now this one is wild. She says she's paying $900 per month for a timeshare. That's $10,800 per year. And she also mentioned earlier in the video that she put $10,000 down up front. So I want you to take a moment to think about that. In the first year alone, she's in for over $20,000, and she can only use it once a year, and it's not even guaranteed at the resort she wants. I highly doubt that she's getting $10,000 plus per year in actual vacation value. Now, what really stood out to me is that in another part of the video, she said that she owned a timeshare in the past and somehow ended up buying another one. And that tells you how powerful and influential, obviously, these sales environments can be. And she also mentioned that when they call to book, they're often told that rooms are full, even if they're flexible on the location. And this is the bigger issue. What happens when they keep selling these contracts to more and more people, but yet the availability doesn't increase? In that situation, you're locked into paying whether you can use it or not. Personally, to me, that doesn't make any sense. However, not everyone regrets buying one.
Unpopular opinion, we actually love our timeshare, and no, we don't feel scammed. If you're new here, my name's Taylor. Follow for tips and tricks on travel so you can travel smarter, not pricier. We have a Westin Marriott Ocean View Villa in Hawaii, and we pay about $3,000 worth of maintenance fees in a year. But if we didn't own our timeshare, it would cost about $7,500 to book that outright for a 7-night stay in Maui. We technically have access to resorts all over the world, but we always pick our home resort in Maui because it's just that amazing. People love to act like timeshares are a scam, but if you actually go and you love the location and use the points right, it can be so worth it. We love ours, we love Hawaii, and we don't regret a thing. We've had it for 5 years. If this was helpful, make sure to save. And if you have strong opinions about timeshares, make sure to drop them in the comment. Do you think they're a trap, or do you think it's totally worth it? Share this video with someone who is thinking about purchasing a timeshare.
Now, this one is interesting. She actually loves her timeshare. She said they paid $21,000 up front and they go every single year. And she plans to keep doing it for the rest of her life. But here's the risk there. What happens if availability becomes limited over time? Because remember, you're not the only one trying to book. You're essentially competing with other owners for dates that you can go. And what happens if 1 year you can't go, or maybe you just don't feel like it? In most cases, you're still responsible for the annual fees, and those fees can increase over time in addition to things like maintenance. Now, to be fair, if it's not hurting her financially and she genuinely uses it every year, then maybe it works for her. However, $21,000 is a lot of money up front. Personally, if there's one place that you absolutely love and plan to visit forever, or at least as long as you can, you might be better off saving towards something that you actually own and control. But again, hey, different things work for different people, and this might be working just fine for her. I want to hear from you though. Do you think this is actually a smart financial decision, or is it still too risky for her to be doing this? And just when you think it's over,
I am being stalked by a Branson timeshare guy. This is so bad. We went 2 years ago to Branson and we did one of those timeshare things, you know, where you get a trip for free or whatever, and then you got to sit for a couple hours and they're trying to sell you a timeshare. Well, it was not just a couple hours. Like, so we got there on Friday night. Saturday we had all day free, and they had like this whole itinerary for us, right? We didn't even do half the stuff. And then we really just wanted to go down to Silver Dollar City and see the lights and stuff, the Christmas lights. Anyway, Sunday we had to do like the timeshare or whatever, and we were there all day. I mean, it was like 6-7 hours. They would not let us out of this. I had young kids and my daughter's autistic. They would not let us leave this place. Now I'm being stalked by them. I made the mistake of answering the phone, and this guy, I could not get him off the phone for like an hour. Me and my husband had it on speaker. We're kind of like laughing. This guy would not stop. I just got another call from them. Every day they've called me for the past like 3 weeks. But for 2 years now, they call me like once a week. It's ridiculous. Like,
if you can't confidently say no, do not go to one of these presentations. It's not worth the free gift. Their entire job, like I said, is to wear you down until you sign. They don't care if it takes 2 hours or 6. So quick story of my experience. So my wife and I had a situation with a timeshare years ago in Mexico. At the airport, when we arrived, we were offered discounted excursions. Anybody who knows me knows I like discounted and free. So discounted excursions and free gifts if we went to a free breakfast. And I told my wife up front, we're not buying anything. And she was down for it. So sure enough, a sales rep joins us at this beautiful buffet breakfast out of nowhere. We did not know that was going to happen. And so fast forward to the pitch, and I just keep saying no. The guy was visibly frustrated. It's like he couldn't believe that a tourist was refusing to sign their life away. But the breakfast was great. The views and the tour of the hotel was phenomenal. And we took our gifts and we enjoyed the rest of the trip. We enjoyed our discounted excursions and all that. But when we left, it was so sad because there were dozens of people signing contracts, and that stuck with me to this day. I like free stuff, but I honestly probably wouldn't do it again because we ended up spending probably about 3 hours with this guy. But have you ever gone to a timeshare presentation? I want to hear all about how that was for you. So what happens when you try to get out? But first, I need you to hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to get better at real estate investing, you got to follow this channel.
So I had a bunch of questions about how to get out of a timeshare contract. Come here. I can't tell you what you should do, but I can tell you what we did. We still had several years left on our contract, and the costs had gotten completely out of control. Our maintenance fees had climbed to almost $1,000 a month. Then you add in the exchange membership, the exchange fees, taxes, and those random maintenance bills that pop up. Here's a little side note. We got a maintenance bill for $1,200 1 year. It's our share, they said, for the upgrades they were making on the property. It's just too much. So here's what we did. We used a timeshare exchange style program that took over the maintenance fees while they worked to sell it. We paid $1,879 to get out, and it also came with a limited access to another vacation ownership program that we never really ended up using. But at that point, we just wanted out. The bottom line is we sold it through a timeshare resale company, and yes, we paid to get out.
All right, so this part is interesting. She said they were paying $12,000 per year in maintenance fees. That is not the purchase price. That's just the ongoing cost. And on top of that, she mentioned paying $1,200 for their share of upgrades to the property. That sounds a lot like an HOA, and I know how a lot of you feel about HOAs. The problem here is that you don't fully own the place. And with many timeshares, you're responsible for annual maintenance fees, which are yearly payments that cover things like the property upkeep, staff, utilities, and management, whether you use it that year or not. And sometimes there might even be special assessments, which are extra charges when the property needs upgrades or major repairs. That might be something that varies depending on the property. I'm not 100% sure. And she also mentioned paying $1,800 to get out. And honestly, that is not too bad compared to what some people go through, believe me. But what I think is pretty sad about this is that she likely didn't get any money back when she exited. So that upfront cost probably completely gone. But would you ever pay $12,000 a year for a vacation that you don't fully control? And if you ever find yourself in one of these presentations after this video, here's what you need to do.
Listen, if you're in a timeshare presentation and they just won't let you leave, you need a script that is polite, that's firm, and most of all, boring. Now, they're trained to keep you in that chair. Someone in my comments said it, boring is the secret. And here's what you need to say word for word. I agreed to give you X minutes of my time. We're past that now. I'm not purchasing today. Please process the incentive so I can leave. Then stop talking. If they try to go get the manager or they try to bring you something else to look at, you repeat, no, thank you. I would like to receive the incentive we agreed on, and then I'm leaving. And if they keep pushing, and asking questions, 9 out of 10 they will, just say, the answer is still no. What's the next step to close this out? And that's on repeat. No, no thank you. How do I get my incentive? I'll put this in the caption so you can copy and paste it into your notes app before you go on your next trip. Because you may not plan to attend a timeshare presentation. I mean, who does? But sometimes you end up there anyway.
Honestly, I don't understand the whole they won't let you leave thing, especially if you agreed to like 2 hours, let's say, and it's over 2 hours. If you want to leave, you should leave, even if that means giving up the gift. Nothing is worth being pressured into a contract, in my opinion. I think we can probably all agree on that. And I did like what she said about repeating the same sentence and really not getting into a back and forth. That's actually really smart, because in sales, the longer you talk, the more opportunities you give to the other person to persuade you. Sales reps are trained to handle objections. So sometimes the best strategy is simple. No. And repeat it. Being firm in a situation like this is extremely important. You can't worry about how the salesperson feels. Your job is not to protect their emotions. They certainly are not worried about your emotions. Your job is to protect your money. At the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. Timeshares are not always sold as bad decisions. They're sold as memories, vacations, opportunities. But when you look at the full picture, the pressure, the upfront cost, the maintenance fees, and limited availability, the difficulty of trying to get out, you start to realize something. If you're not careful, what feels like a vacation can quietly turn into a long-term financial obligation. And that's really the theme of this entire video. Not just timeshares, any contract, any big financial decision, any situation where someone is trying to rush you into making a decision. Like I always say, slow down, run the numbers. Ask yourself what else that money could be doing, because $20,000 invested properly can grow. On the flip side, $20,000 tied up in a bad contract might not. And if you're someone who's actually looking to buy real estate, something you truly own and can build equity in, that's a completely different conversation. And we have that conversation every video. So don't give up. You can definitely get there if that's your goal. Because the goal isn't just to own something, it's to build wealth, not drain it. Thanks for watching, and special thanks to DeleteMe for sponsoring this video. You can get 20% off of DeleteMe consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Sam. And the discount code is automatically applied at checkout. Or you can use the QR code on screen. That's joindeleteme.com/Sam.